Hello, hello. Good afternoon. I hope that everybody's doing okay. We're going to do a live Q&A. Last live stream, I had some issues with my tech. So make sure that you can hear me okay. If you're watching, let me know in the comments if you can hear me. I am so excited to chat with you. Today we're going to be doing a live Q&A time. So these live Q&As are some of my favorite times. Hey everybody, let me know in the comments if you can hear me okay, because I in the past have had some tech issues in the past couple weeks. So let me know as you're jumping on live. Um, I am super excited to chat with you. So if you guys don't know already, every single week, either myself or someone from our team goes live and we talk about virtual assistants. We talk about starting your own business. We talk about how to build your own freedom life. And that's what we're all about here at the Virtual Savvy. It is literally my passion to make the freedom life possible. So whatever that looks like for you, right? Some of us are starting our business. None of us are just starting our business just because we're like, I want money, right? Like the money is funding something. The money is funding a dream that you have, the type of life that you want to live. And when you take a snapshot of, man, like this is what like the good life is for me, right? For most of us, it's not like I want to do my own private island or something. It's like, man, the good life for me is being able to like go to my kids' events without asking a boss if I can go. The good life for me is the freedom life for me is being able to like just take my kids to the bus stop, right? And like being there or going on their field trips. The good life for me is like paying off my debt and just living without that pressure of debt all the time. And I love doing what I do because we're making the freedom life possible here. So I would love to know, just like on that vein, what your why is. Why are you doing this? Why are you along this journey with us? Today's live stream is going to be a Q&A time. So we're just going to hang out. We're going to chill. I want to know if this is where you're at and this is the freedom life for you. What is stopping you from getting from A to B, right? And let's just talk about it. Let's just go through and chat about what is actually happening that's preventing you from getting there. Is there a fear? Is there like a knowledge gap? Is there something you're like, I just don't know how to figure this out? I'm not scared. I just don't know how to do it, right? Like, let's talk about it. So what are your questions? Drop them in the chat and we will talk about them. Okay, guys? As we're doing that, as you guys are starting to drop your live Q&A questions in the chat, I want to share something with you that is super exciting and very, very dear to my heart. So, as you know, we are our mission is to make the freedom life possible, and to me that looks like a lot of different things. It looks like flexible remote work for many of us, right? But the reality is that there are individuals in other countries that that's not even a possibility, right? They have, not only do they not have internet access, for some of them they don't even have simple things like running water. And so when my husband and I found out about this clean water project that Convoy of Hope was doing, we decided to jump on board with it. So for the past 2 years, we've actually been supporting an organization called Convoy of Hope. And we haven't really talked about it very publicly. It's just something that we've donated a lot of our personal funds, a lot of the business funds to. We do a very large contribution every year to the organization because we really believe in them. But one of the things that they have been doing, what we've been partnering with them to do, is this clean water project. So essentially, there's an area that had very little access to clean water, right? It's the Roma people. They're looked at by their society as being less than, right? And so the government doesn't provide very much help for them. And so Convoy of Hope said, we want to partner with them to bring clean water. And what's so cool about it is that, to me, like when I found out some of the stories, so some of these women would literally, because it's usually the women who would be doing it, would have to walk to clean water. And so sometimes just on a daily basis, because how much can you actually carry back in big baskets or in these big barrels? Not very much. So maybe enough just for the day or for 2 days. So every 1 to 2 days, they would have to be walking, sometimes 1, sometimes 2, sometimes up to 3 hours every day or every other day to get clean water for their family, right? In order to do things, not just drinking, but like to clean dishes and to, all of the things that keep things sanitary. And so we found out that us contributing to a clean water project wasn't just water, right? It's the freedom life, right? And obviously it looks very different. And I think we can all acknowledge that if we're listening to this live stream, it means that we have more than most people do in this world. And we're very, very blessed to have that. But we wanted to find a way where we could give back. So we decided to partner with Convoy of Hope to do this clean water project. So we were not only able to build a well, we actually started to try to build a well, but the government kept blocking it. They said, nope, we're not going to help you with that. We're not going to pass any of the permits because, like, why would we waste time on these people who mean nothing? It's terrible. And so but we found like a workaround, and there was one little spout that had some running water. I mean, barely even a drip, but because it was an existing structure, we were able to actually build an entire facility there without permits because we didn't need them because it was already existing. And so all the money we were going to spend to do a well, we were actually able to do not only a clean water source in the form of a well, but also an entire laundry facility. So we'll have more updates on that. My husband and I are looking at even possibly going out there next year to meet some of these people, to hear some of the stories. And we want to continue replicating this. So this is not just a one-time thing. I do believe that clean water is one of the things that I want the Virtual Savvy to partner with, because again, it's mostly providing more freedom for these women and for children. And so that's something I'm really passionate about. So with all that said, one of the things that we're doing is we had already kind of decided that we were going to launch a merch store. Some of you guys have seen either myself or team members or a few people who are sporting like Virtual Savvy gear, right? So we were already planning on doing that. But somebody on the team had this idea, like, what if the proceeds from our merch store, just 100%, any of the profit that we make goes toward this clean water project? And of course, I love that idea. And so I'm going to launch the merch store today. I'm going to share it with you guys. But just know that anything that ever gets purchased is not going to the Virtual Savvy. It's not going to our pockets. It's going to support the Clean Water Project. So do you guys want to see the merch store? And then we'll get to the live Q&A time. Okay. So I'll go ahead and put it up real quick. That way you can visit it yourself. It's merch.thevirtualsavvy.com. But I'm going to actually share it with you too. So this is our Savvy shop. It's merch for VAs, freelancers, and I absolutely love it. Whenever you come here, you'll be able to see everything that we have. We have tons of amazing merch on the site. Our designers here at the Virtual Savvy are just so stinking good. I want to go buy everything. And just like we said, 100% of the profits go to fund our current water project in Bulgaria, and then obviously future projects once that is done as well. All of it, we are partnering with Convoy of Hope. So that's where that money is going to. Okay, so I'm going to just click on one of these on the all merch section so you can see some of the things that we have. We have everything from t-shirts to mugs to posters, everything all about virtual assistants. Some of our taglines, some of the things we talk about here a lot: be bold. Some of our core values: be kind. I mean, there's so much here, right? All I need is tacos and Trello, right? I love that one. We have the different personality quizzes that we have. If you guys have ever taken our VA personality quiz, so we literally have 4 pages here of different merch. Action over perfection, right? We talk about that one a lot. Be bold. All the things that we are about here at the Virtual Savvy. So you guys can go to merch.thevirtualsavvy.com. You can check it out, see what we've got going on, and buy merch, and just know that it's going toward a really good cause when you do. My husband wears this hat like every day. This hat's really big. Just wait, but he has kind of a big head, so it works. So awesome. So do you guys love the merch store? Yes, go check it out, get some gear. And I want to tell you something too, just before we jump into the Q&A time. Oh, I have this shirt too. It's really soft. I'll go ahead and take this down. 1 second. Okay, so I actually have a funny story about wearing merch. So this was before we had a merch store, and this was like way back when I had first started my virtual assistant business, I had these ideas for t-shirts. So I literally just made my own shirts. And I had one that said, oh gosh, what was it? I forget what it said, but it was like, yes, I'm a virtual assistant, or ask me about virtual assistants, or something like that. I don't actually remember exactly what the shirt said. However, I went to California. I didn't even necessarily have the money to like go to social media marketing world, but I knew that media marketing world was going on. It's like this huge conference that happens. And so I decided to just go to, like, I found out where all the after parties were. And so rather than go to the conference, I just went to all the after parties. So I was in California for a different reason. It was actually a meetup. I did a meetup there. That's what I was doing. So I went to all these after parties. Well, I'm just hanging out at an after party, and somebody comes up to me and is like, "Hey, tell me about your shirt." I'm like, "Oh, okay," you know. So I start telling him I'm a virtual assistant. I've started training other virtual assistants, whatever it was at the time. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I talk about virtual assistants all the time." Well, it ended up being Nick Loper from Side Hustle Nation. He's like a top 20 podcast and has been for years and years and years. I ended up going on his show. He's now one of our top affiliates for the virtual savvy. He's a good friend of mine. And it literally all started with a t-shirt. So like never discredit the power of just wearing some merch, because people will ask questions, right? And like I said, it's going toward a good cause as well. So that's just a big announcement that I had for you guys. Super excited about it. We love merch, and I hope you do too. And we also love giving back. So irrational generosity, that's one of our core values here at the Virtual Savvy. So we're always asking ourselves, how could we be more generous? What would it look like to be even a little more generous? And that's one of the things that we try to do here. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into our live Q&A time. What questions do you guys have? I see some already in the comments, already filling up. You guys are awesome. So let's just jump right into it. And talking about goals, I want to sack the boss eventually. Oh my gosh, yes. We want to get out of those 9 to 5s. That is the freedom life for sure. Will this chat and live be saved? I'm currently at work. Yes. And hopefully you haven't tuned off yet. So just so you guys know, these are always housed on our YouTube channel. So you can go to thevirtualsavvy.com/YouTube. And all of our live streams, all of our videos, we release a new video every week. We started a podcast a few weeks ago, and so all of the episodes of the podcast are there as well. So there's usually 3 videos a week coming out over on the YouTube channel. So the amount of content over there is insane. So yes, this live stream will be housed over there, so you can check it out. Oh my goodness, I love this question. I'm scared I won't succeed. I don't love that part. We'll talk about that. No one will want to hire me. I'm also scared to grow up. I have to deal with adult things like taxes. I'm telling you, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a person that loves grown-up stuff. I am not. I don't know if I ever truly grown up. And let me tell you, I don't do my taxes. I pay somebody else to do them. So just know, you don't have to always learn how to grow up. You can just do the things you love, make money, and then pay other people to do the things that are the grown-up stuff, literally. Because I'm terrible at adulting. It's true. We have to adult a little bit. We have to. But I'm all team do the things you love and outsource as many things as you can that you don't love. But let's talk about this a little bit, because I totally understand. And let me know in the comments if there's anybody who kind of feels this way too. Like, I'm scared I won't succeed. Well, here's the thing. There's always a reality that anything you pursue in life won't work. Like, I'm a realist, and I'm just going to tell you that is true, that there is a possibility that anything you try won't work. But isn't it scarier just to stay where you're at? Like, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then like, for me, it's almost scarier just to stay stagnant, And I always I go to the what ifs, and sometimes it's helpful for me to actually go through the worst case scenario. Like, what if I launch this business and it doesn't succeed? Well, one of the amazing things, especially about virtual assistants, is one of the most low cost businesses, the lowest overhead. You're not, renting out and signing a mortgage or signing a lease in a mom and pop shop that you're going to build, and you're stuck to this lease for the next 12 months or 3 years or whatever. You're not buying all of this inventory, So the risk relative to other businesses is much smaller, right? And so you think through this, like, what if it doesn't happen? What if I don't succeed? Like sometimes I literally will talk through it and I get to the end, I'm like, well, if it doesn't succeed, it's really not that bad, right? Now, the other side, just because I have to play the pessimist card, I am a natural optimist, but that's because I can look at the worst case scenario and be like, okay, that's actually not that bad, right? Like, what do I have to lose? No, really, what do I have to lose? Let me look at it. And, like, oh, my boss finds out about my business and I get fired before I have enough clients. Okay, so then what happens, right? Like okay, but I've learned these skills and I could, move in with my friend and we'd figure it out, like there's always this, like, in the worst case scenario that I can think of, it's usually not me dying, so then I'm really okay, right? Even that I'm not super scared of. So there's always this, like, okay, let me actually follow that path of worst case scenario. And then let me follow the path of just if I do nothing, right? And the path if I do nothing is I just stay working this job that I hate, not living the not living the dream life that I want. So then let me take a moment to explore the path of what if it works, right? It's okay if you're one of those people that has to go down the path of what if it won't work, let yourself go there. But also equally spend as much time going down the path of what if this does work, right? What if, which has happened with thousands of our students, right? What if this method, what if it actually does work? What if people do want to hire me? What if none of us, less than 3% of people in the world are natural marketers, but marketing is a learned skill. It can be learned how to be a good marketer, right? If you're not good at something in the beginning, guess what? You can improve that skill. You can actually improve the skill of being a good marketer. And I think that there's all these things that people are just like, oh, but I'm not good at this. Yeah, but can you learn it, right? I had a friend once, like, actually, I have a current friend. She's probably in the live stream. She's our marketing director, and the girl studies comedy, right? And like for the longest time, I didn't realize that, like, comedy is a skill that can actually be, like, learned and improved upon. Like, I'm like, oh, I just thought like comedians and stuff were naturally funny. Though, like, people go to school for comedy. People learn comedy. They improve it. They go and they get up on stage and get no laughs, and then they learn and they get better at it, right? And it's the same with marketing. Like, not very many of us are going to be naturally good at selling and marketing, but it's something that can be learned. We can, use proven models. We can fail a few times and get better at it. So just know, like, this is something that the what if it will work is actually a process that can be learned and has been proven that it can be done, right? So if it can be done, then why not you? So that's my question. Sorry, I went off a little bit of a tangent there, but I had to soapbox today. Okay, so this is a really great question. I know you've answered this a million times, but not today, so we're good. How do I go from hourly to packages only without overworking myself? Also, how do I set this up for prices? So I do have both a blog post and a YouTube video. And so if you go to thevirtualsavvy.com and you just type in the little search on our blog, hourly versus packages, okay, you're going to see a whole blog post on this. So I just want to let you know, like, there is some really in-depth information on the blog on this, but I'll speak to it really quickly here. So one of the things, I am a huge fan of starting out with hourly, right? Because you do need to know how long something takes. Even when you switch to packages, in your mind, you still need to know your hourly rate, right? And so whenever you make that switch to packages, so let's say you were doing hourly virtual assistants and you say, okay, I've been working and doing Pinterest management and I want to start some Pinterest management packages. Okay, so you make your basic, pro, and golden, elite, whatever you name your packages, right? You guys think of some really fun package names. So you choose your packages, and inside of them, you list what's included, right? And inside of that, you could have like your website facing, here's what's included, and it can be like more results driven. But on the back end, you need to really know what's included. Okay, I'm gonna have to research the brand. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this intake questionnaire. I'm gonna have to do this and do this and do this, and like list all of the things and know how much time it's going to take. And that's why I'm a huge fan of starting with hourly, because you do need to know, in a sense, how long things are going to take. Always leave some buffer room in your pricing model. So if you know that, like, creating pins like creating 50 pins usually takes you 2 hours. Okay, go ahead and say it's going to take you 3 or 4, right? And then once you have how much hours, like the most it should take you, go ahead and times that by whatever your hourly rate is, right? And that's your package based price. And so that's my advice. And that's why it is good to know actually and be confident in your services and how long they take before you switch to package based pricing. Just because you still, like, at the end of the day, like, I still have an hourly rate, right? Like, I'm not doing one-on-one services, but at the end of the day, if somebody wanted to hire me for an hour, like just an hour of my time, and it is just, let me just give you money for that time. There's no other benefit to me whatsoever. Cause sometimes, there is a benefit. But what would my hourly rate be? Like, I need to know that number. And all of us kind of need to know that at the end of the day, what that hourly rate is. So then you can apply it to packages. Okay. So go check out that blog post as well. Someone from my team might have commented on it. But if you just go to the blog on the Virtual Savvy site and do like hourly versus packages, you'll see a whole post about it as well that kind of walks you through that process I just explained. Um, oh my goodness, such good questions. Oh, this is a great question. How do you balance full-time work with running a business? Okay. So I think you need to start with the end in mind, first of all. Is your goal to continue with your full-time job or to quit it? I hope it's team quit. I just really love when people quit their jobs. Not really, not my team. You guys can't quit. Just kidding. So I'm really out of it today. Like giddy Abby today. So you need to know what the end in mind. So I'm just going to assume that you're going to quit your job because most of us are here because we don't like our jobs, right? So, how do you balance that at the same time? So if you know that your end goal is to quit your job, first start with the end in mind. What would it take for you to quit your job? Some of you guys are like, well, actually, like, we have another source of income, or my expenses are so low that I literally just quit my job and focus on this full time. Cool, go do that, right? For most of us, especially if you are the sole income provider for your family or the majority income for your majority income earner for your family, or even a huge chunk of it, whatever, you're a two income family, you need to replace your income. Not only replace your income, but I always suggest having 3 to 6 months of living expenses, what it would take to continue to pay yourself, in the bank before you quit your job. So that could take some time, right? For some of us, it's good to know that number. So what is the number that it would actually take for me to quit my job? What would I need to have in monthly reoccurring, and what would I need to have in the bank? Now you have an actual goal, not just a when I'm successful, I'll quit my job. No, I have a financial goal. I have a black and white flip the switch goal. I know what happens when I'm making this much in reoccurring revenue, and when I have this much in the bank, then I can quit. Okay. So that's number one, is know where you're going. Because if you don't have a destination, you're never going to get there. So next is, how do I actually get there? Right. And so it's different for all of us. Like, I don't know what your other commitments are. Do you have a family? Do you have like other things in your life? So I will say this. If you're balancing a full-time job and running a business, it's not easy, right? But if you have that end goal in mind, it's only for a season, right? And that's why I really like having the date of, like, I want this much to happen. I want this flip the switch goal to happen by this date. Because if you have a date attached to it, then you can know this crazy season is only temporary. Okay. Because let me tell you, if you don't have a specific date and it's just this far off, oh, when it happens, and you're going to be there a long time, and it's going to get exhausting, and you'll probably quit before you get there. Just being honest. So what I suggest is to have that date, have that amount in mind. Okay. And how long that's going to take is likely, how much extra hours can you carve? So if this is just a season, this isn't the rest of my life, are there things that I could change in my current life to allow more space for that to happen in this season, right? I'm not telling you to give up things for life, but in the season, could I give up a few things? So for instance, if this number is really high, you're like, man, I make this much a month, so I would need to make that much a month. Well, do you really? If you're bringing home 5,000 a month, do you actually need 5,000 a month? So one of the first things you could do is just reduce your personal expenses. If you could reduce your personal expenses to $3,000 a month, right? Then you would just need 3,000 in reoccurring revenue and like 9 or 10,000 in the bank, right? To quit your job, if you could reduce your monthly expenses. So that's one way to go about it, is to just reduce your current expenses. Then there's like the time factor, right? are there other things, other sacrifices that I could make in this season to make this worth it? So it could be a little, again, I'm not trying to like endorse hustle culture here. I'm not trying to endorse like you have to work all the time, but like one simple change, like I have tested, my body works just as good on 7 hours as it does on 8. And I know that because I've tested it. And so like I can know, like if I go to bed, I'm setting my alarm, I'm like, oh, 7 hours, cool. Let me be strict on my bedtime so I know I can wake up at 7 hours, which will give me 2 extra hours to work in the morning, right? Or I'm going to be willing to ask for help. So many of us, myself included, I literally was talking to my mother yesterday, and she goes, Abby, you're not very good at asking for help. I'm like, I know this. I know I'm not very good at asking for help. And so in that moment, I was like, Mom, could you help me? She's like, yes, of course I can, right? So many of us are not good at asking for help. And so, and not all of us have this, but if you do have the ability to ask for help in certain areas of your life, ask for help. Do a babysitting swap one night a week, right? Like I'll watch your kids on Monday, you watch mine on Wednesday, right? Something that will allow you to carve out more space in your time. Because, I mean, the reality is, if you're working a 40-hour a week job, that isn't all of the hours in your week. And I don't want you to fill all the hours in your week. You still need self care, you still need sleep, you do still need friends, etc., etc. But you do have to just kind of look at your schedule and say, where can I make a few of those sacrifices? Okay. Especially if I know that it's temporary. And that's the biggest thing. That's why I had to start with the end in mind, is because I am not telling you guys to sleep 6 hours a day, to never see your friends, to never see your kids for the rest of eternity, right? Like that is not my goal for anyone. That's not the freedom life. But if you say, I'm going to freaking buckle down in the next 3 months, I'm going to get $10,000 in the bank, watch me. Like, there's some drive behind that, right? And like you're going to sacrifice some things in order to make it happen. So, that would be my goal for you. It's not easy. It's not easy. So just but know that it's possible. We have had countless students go through the same process. They built their businesses. I mean, single moms, right? Melanie, our Savvy System coach, she built her business while working full time as a single mom, replaced her income, quit her job. It happens. It's totally possible. Let's see. One of my fears is health insurance. Totally understandable. So, there's totally options out there. Look into Liberty Health Share. That was what I used for about 2 years before I got started. There also are some like freelancer insurance union things that are starting to pop up. Check out healthcare.gov. That is still an option for people as well. So there are different options for healthcare. And so those would be the first that I look into. Don't let it just be the scary looming thing. Look into your options because there are options. Are you going to have to pay more for health insurance? Yep. Especially if your company um, is covering your health insurance right now, right? If they pay for you, then it's like, all right, what would it actually look like for me to pay myself? Don't let it just be the scary looming thing. Find out the facts. All right, if I go this route, it's this much. If I go this route, it's this much. If I pay for it this way, it's this much. Find out the facts, and then you build that into the budget of how much you'll need whenever you quit. Okay, set it up. You can make it happen. Oh, this stinks. Tips on a client that asked for work and ghosted you after 2 follow-ups. Well, this is one of the reasons that I highly encourage payment up front. I'm a huge fan of getting your invoices paid before you start working. Also, I hope that you had a contract in place with this client. I would do some reflection work. I mean, in reality, I'll go about this 2 ways. Okay. Number one, we, myself included, I feel like we generally like tend to think a little worst case scenario, especially when it comes to clients. Like if this happened to me, I would be like, oh my gosh, they hate me. Like, oh my gosh, when in reality, it could be something totally different. So I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. It could literally be that like she had like a family thing, like a death in the family, or it could be that like she's just so overwhelmed that your email is there and she's like, I gotta get to it, I gotta get to it, I gotta get to it. And she just hasn't because she's overwhelmed and actually needs you, right? So like I wouldn't quit following up if you still want to work with this client. If you are like, nope, I don't want to work with this client, like I learned some things that it's just like, I see why they ghosted me and it's just not someone I want to work with. Okay, then let them go, let them be, and then say, what can I learn? Like, is there something that I could have learned in this process? Did I set up a contract? Did I do all the right things? Like, did I like pre-qualify this person to make sure that they were a good fit and that they were actually ready for me before getting started with them? So kind of those two different perspectives, and it'll just kind of depend on who this person is and if you do want to continue working with them. But I know for me, I am usually a worst case like scenario, and then I have to like tell myself, okay, Abby, give this person the benefit of the doubt, like maybe they didn't actually mean. And I also know myself, like I have emails in my inbox that I'm like, oh, I gotta get to those, I gotta get to those, and then I look at the date, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was 2 months ago, crap. Like I'm just not always the best at that. I'm just being real. Okay, you guys are excited about the merch store. I'm seeing all the comments there. I love it. If you missed the announcement at the beginning, we do have a merch shop, the Savvy Shop. All the proceeds will go to Convoy of Hope to help bring clean water. There's tons of different sizes. People were asking, you can go check out the merch shop and see, but I think they go up to like 2 or 3X on there, which is pretty exciting. Let's see. How do you approach clients in person, email, calling? There's so many ways. There's so many ways to get clients as a virtual assistant. I always tell people to start with your personal network. So start with the people you already know. You have no idea who is already in like your current reach, or like one circle beyond your current reach. So I do this exercise a lot with people. I tell them, like, think right now, like you can close your eyes. Do you know one small business owner? Like, do you know one person that is a massage therapist, or they have an MLM, or they run a restaurant, or they are an insurance agent or a real estate agent? Like, do you know one small business owner? People are like, yes, 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 yes. Okay. Just like you know one small business owner, likely everyone you know knows one small business owner. So, one of the first things I normally tell people to do is just tell your current network, just tell your current circle of friends, even if they're not business owners, hey, I'm starting a VA business. Do you know of anybody who's a small business owner that I could maybe chat with? Just that one exercise can be huge. It can be an absolute game changer. And I've seen so many people get their first client that way. And sometimes people don't get their first client that way and they're like, it didn't work. And it's like, okay, but you still told people about your business. Number one, it's exciting. Now you're like in their mind. And so if they meet somebody down the line, you're going to be top of mind, right? And so often people will do this exercise. And then like 3 months later, they're like, oh, I got a client from that, right? So like, it's worth doing. Plus, it's just a confidence booster to tell people about your business. If you go to thevirtualsavvy.com/swag, we have a personal outreach template, and there's actually a template that we give you totally for free that shows you how to do that first client outreach. Okay, so check that out for sure. And then if you want to know more about marketing, how to get clients, we do have also a 60-minute free training, thevirtualsavvy.com/BBO. That's for Become Booked Out. And so that is a 60-minute training that teaches you how to market, right? It's a little bit of pricing, a little bit of like what services am I going to choose, and then I give you my top 3 places to find paying clients in that free training. So go check that out for sure. Awesome. Let's keep going. I love this. My package names are Mustard Seed, Moving Mountains, and Miracles. I love it. That's amazing. Can I start with basic and upgrade it to pro later? That's a really great question. We'll have to go ahead and you can email my team about this, hello@thevirtualsavvy.com. If you're already a basic member, then we'll have to work with your case individually. As a general rule, so the difference, if you guys are like totally lost, we have a course called the Savvy System, and we have a basic and a pro version. What the pro version is that it includes access to Savvy Vault. Okay, so Savvy Vault is our tech training membership for VAs. And so if you want to add on that tech training membership, you can do that at any time, Sonia, but it will be either the monthly or the annual price. If you start with the basic, then you can't add on lifetime access later of the Savvy Vault, if that makes sense. So if you want lifetime access, I would go with pro now. But if you're like, no, I'll just do monthly access to that, you do get a discount as a Savvy System member on that annual tech membership. Okay, so good question. Good question. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, we did, Christy and I did a live on this once. I worked my 9 to 5 while running a VA business. It can be done 100%. We've actually had so many people another live on this topic. Thanks for sharing that, Christy. Oh, this is so good. I just quit my job. Yay! Congratulations. I'm a full-time VA. That's so amazing. What are some big money-making services and way to supplement my income? Okay, so I always tell people don't like look at all the flashy like things that you could do. What do you want to do? Start diving in and start learning different tech, start learning different services that are out there. It's a huge reason why we have our vault, savvyvault.com. Even if you don't buy Savvy Vault, just go look at all the courses that we offer inside of it. That's terrible. I should promote my own things. Buy it too. But go look at all of the courses that we have and be like, man, which ones of these seem interesting to me? Which one do I think I would like? And then start trying them on for size, right? I usually tell people not to go like, let's say you're a general VA and you're like, I think I'm interested in Pinterest management. And so you take one Pinterest management course and you're like, yeah, I could do this. So let me completely rebrand. Let me get rid of all my clients and let me totally, I'm like, no. Like, keep with your current clients. Okay. So you have your general VA packages, add on Pinterest management or whatever it is, podcast editing, YouTube management. I mean, there's so course creation, there's so many services that you could offer. Let me add a high end service in addition. And then once I really get some experience, get some paying clients, if I'm like, okay, I definitely want to do this, then you can get rid of your general VA and just have your high ticket, like your higher end services, but don't scrap what you've been building for this new thing and totally like rebrand my website, do all the things because you will spend so much time rebranding and all of this stuff. And then 2 months later, you're like, oh man, I hate this. I don't want to do it anymore. Then you're going to have to do that whole process over again. So I'm always like, I'm a huge fan of pivots in your business. And I think that any business owner that ends up being successful, it's not because they just started something and said, oh, I don't like that. Let me scrap it, start over. Oh, I don't like that. Let me scrap it, start over. Oh, I don't like it. Scrap it, start over. My suggestion is to go, okay, oh, let me kind of pivot this way. Oh, no, I don't like that. So I'll pivot back. Oh, I like this. Oh, yeah, I do like this. Let me keep, I'll pivot again. Right. And it's like these small little pivots along the way in business is what's actually going to get you to your end destination. And you're going to go so much further. Even if you make a wrong pivot, you can just pivot back instead of like scrapping everything and just starting over from scratch. It's one of the things that I see happen a lot. People are like, oh, I quit this and now I'm doing something totally different. It's just like, oh, if you would have pivoted, then you wouldn't have lost all your income and you'd have so much more traction, right? So that's one of my big suggestions there. Ooh, that's exciting, Tina. I'm lucky enough to retire from my job in 2 years. Yay! Oh, so you just got to get 2 years. Yeah. So I would just start slowly, just like in your spare time, slowly building your VA business, bring on maybe like one or two clients. So then in 2 years, you can be like off to the races. That's such a good, I'm a big fan of not just, don't just create your business plan, you guys create your life plan. Like what do you want your life to look like? What is the current realities? Like that's a current reality of like, hey, in 2 years, like I'm good. So let me build my business slowly. So I know in 2 years, man, I can really fulfill my life plan. I love it. You guys, such good stuff happening here. Um, okay. This is interesting. On our first discovery call, they mentioned how they didn't need a VA. They don't really have a need for my service, but is doing it for their family and to help me out. Yeah, I don't know. That to me, that like doesn't feel like a good fit. I mean, yeah, if someone's like, I don't need you, I probably wouldn't work with them. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. Okay. Oh, for some reason the comments stopped scrolling for me. 1 second. Let me get back to it. Oh, probably so worth it. Okay, good. Awesome. Well, you guys, I'm so excited. I'm excited for your individual journeys. I'm excited that, the fact that you guys showed up here, there's like 50 some people watching. Okay. Like, why did you show up today? Why? You can let me know in the comments if you want. There is this vision that you have of where you want to be. what your freedom life looks like, right? So what's it going to take for you to get there? For a lot of you guys, it's just that knowledge gap. Some of you guys are looking at Savvy System, like, I just need the blueprint. Like, just give me the knowledge. Cool. Some of you guys have the knowledge. Some of you guys have been there. Some of you guys might be Savvy System students. I don't know. So there's something, there's some kind of hurdle. I want you to truly ask what is on the other side of that hurdle. What is like A to B? What is B? What is the freedom life? What are you working toward? And what is stopping you from getting there? Have enough introspection. Take 5 minutes, like for me, especially when my kids are home, I gotta just lock myself in the bathroom sometimes and mommy needs 5 minutes to herself, right? Anybody? No? So like take 5 minutes, take a shower. Oh, I get my best ideas in the shower and really ask myself, like, what is stopping me? What is actually stopping me from getting there? And I think when we can truly reflect on that, then okay, like I just have to get past this hurdle because it's worth it, right? What's on the other side, that freedom life, once you're there, guys, it is so, so, so worth it. It has its own challenges. I'm not going to say that it's always easy, that like living the remote life, having my husband work for me, all the things, it's always like sunshine and rainbows. No, like it's freaking hard on this side too, right? But I would not trade it I would never trade it for going back to working a normal 9 to 5. I would never trade it for going back and feeling like stuck and lost, right? And so I am at a point where my life is flexible. I am able to spend time with my kids. I'm able to also afford for them to go to camps when I want to work on my business, like they are at this week. They're at like a day camp this week, which they love. And, I wouldn't trade it. So even though it has its own difficulties, it is still so much better than the life that I was living. So really take some time and reflect. That's like my challenge for you this week. What is stopping me? Is it a knowledge gap? Okay, where's the knowledge? Get the knowledge, right? Like get the blueprint. It could be ours, it could be somebody else's. I don't care. Like just get the blueprint that you need to get you there. Okay, if it's not a knowledge gap, then it's probably like an emotional gap, right? Like it's probably some kind of a fear or a hindrance. All right, well, let's talk about it. Get real about it. Tell some people about it. Surround yourself with people who have been there, done that, who have been on the other side of that fear hurdle and who can help walk you through it. Okay, so I believe in you guys. I love you so much. Thanks for checking out the merch store. If you didn't, I'll put it up one more time. Merch.thevirtualsavvy.com. We've got tons of awesome merch. Wear your merch out in public. People will ask you about it, which I think is the coolest thing. 100% of the proceeds go to building towards our clean water projects currently happening in Bulgaria, but we are going to be expanding that really, really soon as well. So, yep, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of the day, and I'll see you next week.